These are the stories topping the news. Autopsy confirms suicide, Haiti dismisses Ebola rumor, and Australian bushfire destroy homes. Now the news in detail. Authorities have confirmed that the lifeless body of Calvin Jeffers found at Wigley Avenue on January 1st was the result of a suicide. On Thursday, 1st January 2015, the body of the 58-year-old was found hanging from his kitchen ceiling. According to a release from the police, an autopsy was performed on the body of the late Calvin Jeffers by resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunez. The autopsy revealed that the cause of death was due to asphyxia due to hanging. The body was then handed over to family members for a funeral. More secondary school students on Nevis will on Friday, January 9th, receive scholarships as part of the Alexander Hamilton Scholarship Fund. The scholarship presentation forms part of the annual Alexander Hamilton Tea Party and Award Ceremony, an initiative of the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society. Friday's ceremony will be held on the grounds of the Alexander Hamilton Museum in Charlestown from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. According to a release from the NHCS, the celebrations will mark their continued appreciation of the son of the soil and the mark he left on the political, economic, and financial systems of America, which has also influenced the entire world. Kittitian-born author Jewel Amethyst Daniel has teamed up with her now 11-year-old daughter Linnell Martin to write a science adventure book. Titled Zapped, Danger in the Cell, the book targets children aged 8 to 12 years old and teaches them about the parts and functions of a cell. ZIZ News spoke with the duo during a recent upfront interview. They shared their joy in collaborating on the project. Daniel also outlined while the book was written.
I'm officially trained as a scientist. I have a PhD in biology, and so when my daughter approached me to write a book, a children's book, that was a natural thing for me to do, to write something that is a little bit scientific. And of course, she loves adventure, so we got the adventurous part of it. So it's a science adventure called Zapped, Danger in the Cell.
Daniel, who has also written several romance novels, then spoke of the themes explored in Zapped, Danger in a Cell.
In addition to the adventure, the theme is the cell, the animal cell. So you get to learn the parts of the cell, and that's why it's also educational, the functions of each part. What happens is that these kids get zapped by some strange machine that Giselle and Justin were mischievous enough to touch here. Okay, so they get zapped, they go into the cell, into an animal cell, and they have to escape the cell. They're trying to find their way out. While trying to find their way out, they're exploring the different organelles of the cell, the nucleus, the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi, different parts of the cell. And they get danger at every point.
The book was published by Caribbean Reads, a local publishing company. In regional news, Haitian health officials have dismissed reports that the first case of Ebola has been detected in the country. On Saturday, the Minister of Public Health told Haitian Caribbean News Network that the reports of Ebola being detected in the northern region of the country are totally false. She said there are ill-intentioned people spreading such rumors. The Ministry of Health has called on the population to remain calm and to respect all disclosed preventative measures. The Guyana Amerindian People's Association has condemned disrespect for a Charlton school teacher. We hear more in this report.
The office of the president earlier this week suggested that the president calling an Amerindian man stupid represents the cut and thrust, or the usual happenings at public meetings. But Jean LaRose, program administrator at the Amerindian People's Association, wonders why the heckling of schoolteacher John Adams was not seen as something normal for public meetings also. Instead, the teacher was publicly humiliated and then assaulted by presidential guards.
The earlier cut and thrust by John Adams that had been which was addressed as heckling and disrespect full to the president and a number of things like that was not seen as the cotton trust, but now coming from a different source, if that is what indeed was said by the president. It seems the cotton trust is right on one occasion, and then on another occasion it is not, depending on where it's coming from.
LaRose said that political leaders have taken liberties with the distance of Amerindian communities, believing that what is said in far-flung communities will not reach the news media, or that news does not get into these communities, so Amerindians can take informed positions on various issues.
In the past, our communities have been told a number of things, told a number of lies, I would say. Told a number of mistruths, told a number of misinformation, and I expect that these would not get out because very often our people are intimidated. We've again heard of the situation where that teacher was slapped. That's a form of intimidation, but there are other forms of intimidation that have communities have been threatened with, and therefore sometimes people are afraid to talk. But in the cases we've seen more recently, people are feeling that they need to say what they have to say, and the result is public humiliation.
With elections this year, LaRose has urged political leaders to treat the Amerindian people with respect.
My hope is that the communities will be respected in terms of the information that is taken to the communities, that the people will be respected in terms of their person, the security of their person, that people will be respected in their own homes.
Today, the main opposition APNU called on President Donald Ramotar to issue immediately an apology to the young school teacher in particular and the indigenous people in general for what the party called the president's vile language and the violent behavior of his guards. For Capital News, Neil Mark.
Internationally, crews desperately scour the Java Sea by both air and sea for wreckage from Air Asia flight QZ8501. Anna Corrin reports.
Authorities ramping up the search for Air Asia 8501, with crews scouring the Java Sea both in the air and by water. By the afternoon, at least 3 bodies, 2 male and 1 female, pulled from the water and taken to land. Severe weather breaking long enough for officials to deploy a total of 57 divers to investigate several large objects detected by sonar imagery. The USS Fort Worth is also assisting, using sonar equipment to scan the ocean floor. Meanwhile, Indonesian authorities extend the massive Operation East beyond the so-called most probable area, where crews have already retrieved dozens of bodies and located large pieces of debris believed to be from the aircraft.
The position of where they find the debris is extremely important because of the fact that you can determine whether there was an in-flight breakup or if there was a breakup, the extent of the breakup once it hit the water.
Now 9 days since the Airbus 320 went missing, and so far no signals have been detected to help hone in on the critical black boxes.
The voice recorder in the cockpit tells you what the people are saying. It also records sounds. You might hear a bang, for instance. You've also got this data recorder that's telling you what kind of thrust settings the engines were on. So you can really recreate in a great level of detail what was happening with the plane and why it came down.
Also, Indonesian officials revealing that Air Asia did not have a permit to fly the Surabaya-Singapore route on December 28th, clarifying that the airline was approved to fly the route only 4 days a week, which did not include Sunday.
More than 30 homes are feared destroyed by bushfire in the state of South Australia, with officials warning that lives are in danger even as weather conditions improve. About 22 people, mostly firefighters, have suffered minor injuries from the fire. Al Jazeera's Nicole Johnston reports.
South Australia is fighting these fires with everything it's got. From the air, dropping tons of water. From the ground, trying to douse the flames. It's risky. 22 firefighters have been injured so far. Now the weather has turned cooler. It's dropped 10 degrees, but this may not last.
We're expecting more hot weather, which will create conditions for the fire to escape, and we would like to contain it within its general perimeter.
A dozen homes have been destroyed in the Adelaide Hills. Alex Demchenko's place is one of them.
All my possessions and documents and my paperwork Lost my pets, yeah, dogs, a few cars, a few collectibles, all gone, yeah.
So I just want to go home and have a look and stay there and defend it.
And people are returning to their homes to see if they're still standing. Over 11,000 hectares of bushland has been destroyed, farming property as well. Fires have become a regular feature of the Australian summer. 6 years ago, more than 170 people were killed in one of the worst bushfires in recent history. This one is being brought slowly under control, but it's unlikely to be the last one this season. Nicole Johnston, Al Jazeera.
Now the weather. Skies over the Federation are partly cloudy with winds blowing from the east-northeast at 15 to 20 miles per hour. This evening we'll have mostly clear skies with a few showers developing late. Sunset will be at 5:49 p.m. That's it for ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us at 6:30 and 7 p.m. for the evening news. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Berridge.